Divorced men and women of Reddit, what was the final straw? When she refused to go back to marriage counseling because he makes me feel wicked because I won't stop seeing the other guy. There's pretty much nothing left to say. I think Pokemon Go was the final straw. We weren't married, but together for 8 years with a kid. He had trouble keeping a job and hadn't had a full-time job in 9 months. He worked part-time and lost his job and had some bullshit story. I think he was showing up late and tired from staying up all night playing Pokemon Go downtown all night. My father died in Asia. Last minute I had to bolt to his funeral. Packing my bags, she lay there in bed and said, "I feel like you're just going on vacation." This was really upsetting. After his funeral, Buddhist, where I had to clean his week old black and blue zombie face with palms and coconut oil, watch him doused in gas from a jerry can, and get set on fire with fireworks from a what she called me, and started lighting me up about our credit card debt, and told me I shouldn't care so much, because he was a shit father anyway. The next day I had to pick his bones out, put them in an urn, dress his ashes in clothes, after shaping them into the shape of a body, and drop his ashes into a hole in a trash-ridden unmarked grave in a small junglewood area. Carrying his ashes to the jungle for some reason gave me enough of an existential jolt to think, what the duck am I doing? Took a year of deliberation, but I finally decided I deserved a more supportive partner. When my apartment neighbor asked me how I was okay with all of that. Okay with what? Oh, with being in an open marriage. I'm sorry, what now? Come again. Yeah, she told us you guys were in an open marriage when we saw her bringing guys home to your house while you were working. I'm sorry, what now? Come again. AWK Ward silence. Welp, thanks for letting me know, or I'd still be in the dark about this whole open marriage thing. Edit. Thank you to all of you for your perspectives and your kind words. Sincerely. For those of you who have or are suffering, please don't give up on yourself, on who you are as a person. Try not to let it define you. There will be good days. Eventually, the pain will start to fade. Don't hesitate to reach out for help. You're not alone, and you should never feel as though you are. I saw a crumpled up piece of paper on the floor. It was a letter to me. She never intended to give me a therapy tool, pouring out all our problems and a few I didn't know about. The upside is once we talked about it and realized neither of us wanted to be married anymore, the only feeling was a massive sense of relief all around. It was pretty amicable as far as divorces go. Edit. The cat had pulled the letter out of the trash can and was batting it around on the floor when I saw it. Edit 2. Since you zoned in on the cat being the important part of the story, that particular cat was a temporary house guest and went home shortly after. But, hearing a coma one's IK's a poor quality pic of him chilling with my dog. We do have a daughter, me and the ex, not me and the cat, and every decision we made was with her well-being in mind. The part 1 left out, because it needlessly complicates the story, is 4 years after the divorce. We get along so well that we are cohabitating as platonic roommates. So our daughter gets both parents in the same house again. And there are 3 cats and a dog. When I realized that both my sons spoke to me in the same unpleasant dismissive tone as my husband did, when my 10 years old asked me why I told them every day that daddy was crossing to try to keep out of his way, when I saw how much better he treated one child than the other, I hadn't realized all those things had become my normal. Somehow not having access to our money had become unremarkable. Being undermined and belittled in front of others was to be tolerated. I had no idea how much I worked to keep the peace and placate. I felt so guilty when it dawned me how much they were absorbing his behaviors and seeing them as normal. I woke up and saw my life with my old single independent eyes and was both aghast and ashamed. I never ever would have believed my life would become the mess it had. The thing is, mostly in other people didn't see it. He never socialized with people I knew, and his friends think he is great. Even my mum thinks I exaggerate and should put up and shut up. I feel so isolated, but I refuse to put up with this shit any longer. My kids deserve an emotionally healthy example of relationships and love. When one of my husband's many girlfriends actually came up to me, apologized and said, "He told me that you knew about me and that you had an open marriage." I was already planning on leaving him because of the infidelities. She just made me move all that much faster. She didn't want to have to worry about coming home. She would sleep all day. We pulled up next to a truck one day and the guy was just glaring at me, then he peeled out and ran the red light. I asked her, "You know that guy?" She replied, "Yeah, we work together." Found out she was sleeping with this guy. I left soon after. She told me to take the kids because he, her new man, didn't want kids. I left with a 9-month-old, a 1-year-old and a 5-year-old. That was 10 years ago. She killed herself last weekend. My oldest is so angry. My boy's heartbroken, he will never get to talk to her anymore, and my youngest, my precious little girl, is devastated. It's so hard to understand how someone can do anything that she has done, and I'm completely lost. She told me she was pregnant with another man's baby. Pretty easy decision. Husband was out of town on a business trip. I had a surgery scheduled for the same time. Had the surgery and there were complications. It was supposed to be a day surgery and I should have been home that evening. Ended up in the ICU for 2 days and the hospital for 4 more. My friend called my now ex-husband and told him that I almost died and was in ICU and he needed to come home. His reply, "Well, she didn't die, so I'll be home when my business trip is over." After he got home and I got home from the hospital, he was nice enough to leave the hotel invoice on our dresser, a room with 2 occupants. She wanted to move back to her home country. My visa was denied, and that was that. After this thread, I'm going to go home and appreciate the shitty dinner she made for my ungrateful ass. Thanks, Reddit. When I talked to his girlfriend on the phone and she didn't know he was married. My mom experienced the same thing. My dad was in the shower late Friday evening and said he was going to his mother's house to help her with something. The phone rang. My mother was resting in bed and answered it. Young female voice. "Hey, my dad, come on down to the bar, I'm waiting for you. You owe me beer, hottie." My mom. "This isn't my dad. This is his 8-month pregnant wife." Young female voice. Pause. "So is he coming or not?" After that was a long dance of trying to throw him out. Luckily my mom laughs about this story because apparently when he came out of the shower she said a girl called from the bar asking for him. He went white. Edit. Wow, okay, this blew up. My mom is enjoying reading the responses but is very confused as to why people think he's black, but I find it hilarious. Poor wording on my part. Thanks to those with the kind words. She appreciates them. When she threatened divorce in a very sensitive argument, I paused, agreed, and stuck to it. Edit. As to not be misleading, this threat coupled with the discussion we were having at the time was the final straw. This sort of threat had been used before. She had just started a big new career and got it into her head she deserved an open marriage. We tested it for 3 days in which she had 3 new partners. She had zero empathy to the contrast in our individual capabilities to explore extramarital partners, and when I brought this up is when she snapped, "Let's just get a divorce." Then there were 2 things that stuck in my mind I just couldn't get past, but it was a lot of different things. I guess these 2 were the nails in the coffin. 1. Birthday dinner for my father-in-law. 5 minutes before we are leaving for dinner my ex tells me, "Oh, dinner is just for our immediate family." I thought I was his family. It was very heartbreaking. 2. I spent a month caring for my dying grandmother, one of the most treasured people in my life. I was exhausted and devastated by the time she passed. I don't even remember the conversation, just his response of, "I really need your support right now. Your grandma's death really messed me up." I realized I was alone in my marriage and that it wasn't ever going to change. I had to walk away for my own health and sanity. He tried to kill my 8-month-old kitten by throwing it through a wall in our apartment. His reason, the little asshole wouldn't stop meowing. Apostrophe. I was working night shift. She cheated on me with 5 men that she met on Tinder and ducking Craigslist. After I downloaded the contents of her phone I found she was talking to 18 and ducking 5. So yeah, divorced. Picked up my ex-wife's cell phone and dialed the last number called. It was her boyfriend, which I knew she had. I walked over to my ex and put the phone on speaker. confronted him in front of her, and they both just laughed. I told her, let's see if that guy comes to your rescue when you really need, or if you're just a booty call. I brought in 100% of our income, which made it extra satisfying. When I made the final exit out of the driveway, I asked her how they were doing, and she hadn't heard from him since that day. When my ex started threatening me and physically assaulting me in front of my kid, he also threatened to kill me if I left. And I believed him. Fortunately, I suppose, he was also sleeping around and found the perfect woman. So then he filed for divorce on the fast track and actually gave me a pretty decent deal on the property settlement custody agreement. Convincing our children to drink their own urine. He decided to practice urine therapy, and I was disgusted and started to prepare for divorce. But when he got the kids involved, I immediately knew it was over. Finding plane tickets and hotel reservations to go meet some dude she had been chatting with online. Turns out the guy wasn't the fishing boat owning Alaskan adventurer he claimed. He turned out to be a part-time theater ticket taker for a movie theater, living in his mom's basement. I was going to get yelled at no matter what I did the laundry, get yelled at for not folding the towels correctly, let her do the laundry, get yelled at for not doing the laundry. The final straw was I was sent to the grocery store for French cut green beans. They had French style green beans and cut style green beans. I spent more time than I care to admit scrutinizing the green bean aisle. I finally realized that green beans are 40 cents, and I'm not taking an as chewing over 40 cents. I bought both. But I didn't even know I was getting a divorce. I received the divorce papers in the mail. My ex was in the Navy at the time, about to retire. Her last duty station was in Michigan. We had been in the DC area for about 12 years before the last transfer came. So I stayed in DC as our home was almost paid off, and after 3 years she would be back to settle here for good. Awesome. One of us would travel back and forth once a month. We had been together for about 10 years before we got married. About 3 months before her retirement, I'd get the papers from the state of Michigan. In 30 days you're divorced. Apparently she talked to a JAG officer about her retirement and he suggested she divorce me so she wouldn't have to split her retirement check with me. I paid it all the bills at the DC house and most of the ones at the Michigan house. I didn't want to fight, so divorced we got. I did keep all of my stuff, house, car, motorcycle, and she didn't ask for any of my business. About 4 months later I get a call from her. I don't seem to have enough money to pay my bills. Lol. I told her not my problem. It felt really good. 4 years now, and I get a call every now and then of her telling me she misses me and loves me and she can't pay her bills. I love when she asks me for money. Best no I can give in life. She didn't want to be married or a mom anymore. She also wanted to see other people. I showed her the door and she ran like a bat out of hell. Left me and the kids. All I had to do to get custody was keep paying her cell phone bill and car payment. This was pretty much all she cared about. Too damn bad that was not part of the divorce agreement. I stopped paying the day after the divorce was final.